Marketing Etc. takes you into topics and trends in business with a marketing view lens. Join your host, Tokwe Ayedu, a multicultural and multi-industry marketing and business leader, as he dives into his vast and diverse network to go into conversation with thought leaders and experts in business and marketing. Listen to Marketing Etc. on your favorite podcast platform and watch on YouTube.
It was the management guru Pt3 who said marketing encompasses the entire business. It is the whole business seen from the point of view of its final result, that is, from the customer's point of view. This is the philosophy I subscribe to.
Today on Marketing Etc.
This episode of Marketing Etc. is the third part of my conversation with Janet Milner Walker about the beauty industry. And today we are looking more at the geographical market contributions, the prevalence of mergers and acquisitions in the beauty industry, and the change in shoppers' behavior. I'm sure there's something for you in this episode.
So that's the change that I think we're seeing now.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because a few years ago, just a little bit of digression. A few years ago, probably 10 years ago, thereabout, not that few years, we saw the emergence of fast fashion, which necessarily means that the whole supply chain is sort of short-circuited in some way. So that what you're seeing on the fashion runway in Paris today can be on the retail on the high streets in a few months. Are we seeing that in the beauty industry as well? Also, time to market, from idea origination or concept to the shelf.
So traditionally in the beauty industry, when you're developing something like a skincare brand, depending on how technical it is, it would take about 12 months from start to finish, from concept to shelf. And that's working in a large organization. With these indie beauty brands, some of the things that have changed are the fact that some of these people, indie beauty brands, are actually manufacturing their products from their homes and their kitchen. So that's really small indie beauty brands. Some of them are then going to contract manufacturers as well and using contract manufacturers. There are certain things that you can't speed up in the process. So you have got your testing you need to do, safety testing, compatibility, stability testing you need to do. But the marketing itself, which has also traditionally been quite a long process to plan out in terms of campaigns, can be shortened. So from concept to shelf, some of these brands are turning that whole process around more quickly. And that's also due to social media. So the product development side is one side, the marketing side is the other, because they're then going out directly to their Instagram channels, their YouTube channels to launch the brand, rather than having to do a big photo shoot or TV campaign or things like that. So yes, the innovation process has shortened and become quicker as a result of that.
Thank you. Janet, I stumbled on two interesting stats. I call them my 40%, which, I didn't create them. I saw them in a Statista report on the global beauty industry. I saw 40% stats jumped at me. So I want us to talk about both of them. The first one, the Asia Pacific region, actually, is contributing 40% of the market share globally. Ordinarily, I would have thought, that would be the Americas, the US in particular, and then Europe. But Asia Pacific dominantly control 40%. What is happening in that region?
So in terms of that region, a lot of it's driven by skincare as well. So they've always been a big market, and they've always been a big market in the beauty industry. But if you look at some of the trends that have come out of there in terms of skincare brands and the amount of money people spend on skincare brands, that's driven a lot of the change in that industry. They've also, and then within skincare itself, if that's segmented further, you look at some of the growing trends that have come through there in terms of skincare for sensitive skins. Microbiome, which is about developing personalized skincare products as well, bespoke skincare. That's another thing driving that industry. And then the amount of money they spend on fragrance as well. So all of those things, if you combine them, that's what's that growth has come from. But also it's always been a big marketplace for beauty industry. Mm. The amount of money people there spend versus the amount of money we spend in some of the other parts of the world.
Interesting.
It's just that's one of the areas that they spend more money in, but also the size of the marketplace has influenced that.
Interesting. And then when you talk about that share number, obviously, the APAC region has got, billions, of population. The closest region to that is Africa.
Yes.
And as you know, I'm quite passionate about Africa as well. And we're not seeing that coming out of Africa in terms of, but from your experience,
mm-hmm.
and running a consultancy, what are your thoughts on the African beauty?
So we are definitely seeing the changes. It's nowhere near that scale at the moment, but there's no reason why it couldn't reach that scale because of the population. So if you look at the size of the population, it's in terms of the size of the population, I think and also the affluency of the population, I think in Africa, I haven't got the exact number on me at the moment, but it's tripled over the past 30 years. So the size of the population's grown. In terms of the spending power of the population as well, that's also transitioned. So you've got a lot more people who are becoming more affluent in the region, who then have the disposable income to spend on beauty. And then we look at the types of products that people in that marketplace would be buying in terms of skincare and hair care as well. There is a growing trend. So Africa's still been behind in terms, partly because of disposable income, but not in terms of demographics now or in terms of the size of the population. So that's all changing, as we both know. And as you know, I'm also very passionate about the African market myself, being South African. So all of that's changing. The spending power is changing. It's a growing marketplace in terms of the number of people. And we are seeing that coming through, although it's nowhere near the size or the scale at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you saying? I mean, from your own practice, just I mean, I'm not asking for your trade secrets,
So in terms of what we're seeing, there's a lot more people it's always been an entrepreneurial market.
Yeah.
So they've always been people setting up businesses. So we're seeing a lot more of that, but we're also seeing a lot more people who are setting up businesses in the beauty industry, whether they're going about developing their own brands, because I've certainly seen that come through from Nigeria as well. We've also had a lot of inquiries from South Africa, and we do work with companies in South Africa. So the entrepreneurship is growing, but has always been a big part of that industry. And then in terms of people wanting to find out how to develop their own brands, and then technology as well. So the size of technology and the growth of technology has accelerated across that industry, across that marketplace, should I say, as well. So all of these things are lending themselves to people starting up their own businesses in the beauty industry.
Good. Now let's talk about my other 40%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you touched on it already, but let me bring it up to you. In 2010, the skincare category accounted for 31% of the the size of the market. In 2019, 40%.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to skincare in particular?
Skincare's changed dramatically for a number of reasons. It's always been a big category. But a couple of things that have made skincare change even more is a lot of these things are linked to technology. So people understand having access to information. So they're able to go online, they're able to do research, they're able to understand skincare, the ingredients, and also the impact that has on us as consumers. So there's technology that's made people become experts in skincare and studying skincare. And as a result, technology, what's also changed is the way people can purchase skincare. So they previously went into department stores, they went in spas and salons, now they go online. So people can buy skincare readily, but they've also far more informed when they're buying skincare. Social media has changed skincare as well. So the number of people producing YouTube videos, also obviously going onto Instagram and making it far more accessible to people. So that's changed the way in which people shop for skincare. And then, of course, you've got all the trends that have changed skincare. So one of the biggest trends that are coming about at the moment is personalization. So creating bespoke formulations for people. So previously in skincare, you used to shop based on age. So you'd buy, whether you were younger or older, you'd buy skincare for the age of your skin. And then you'd also buy skincare because it was segmented into skincare for dry skin, oily skin, the type of skincare skin you had, or the concerns you had with regards to skincare, whether it was sensitive skincare. Now it's about really buying personalized skincare. So understanding the DNA of your skin and then actually having brands that are catering to that and producing products that are specific to your skincare needs so that you can actually have something made up in the future. You'll have things, you're seeing it now, but you'll see more and more of this in the future, having products made up specifically for your skin based on your skincare needs. And then there's all the other changes in terms of ingredients, which we've spoken about before, clean ingredients. There's also a big category growing in terms of products for acne. So a lot of people suffering from acne, and a growing sector of brands launching products specifically for acne. We've also seen changes in the environment in terms of products coming up for anti-pollution. And also products developed for probiotic skincare. So there's lots and lots of trends that are coming through in terms of skincare. But I think one of the biggest drivers of that particular marketplace has been technology. So being able to shop more readily for skincare and being made more aware of skincare through social media.
Good. That's interesting. That's really interesting, because I mean I was I mean the whole industry was growing. I mean you did mention 21% growth and all of that, but then skincare was growing faster. So yeah, that was what caught my attention to want to find out from you about that. What I've also seen, what everyone must have seen in the last few years in the beauty industry, it's the mergers and acquisition that's been happening. You and I know, that definitely there are strategic drivers behind this, from geographical market expansion to diversification, whatever, there's always a strategy behind this. So let me just pop up a few of these that came up in 2019. So Unilever took over Cetra for nearly 500 million USD. Estee Lauder took over Dr. Jart Plus and Do the Writing brand for 1.1 billion USD. But by the way, that was those two brands in the Asian market. So we probably can easily say, that's a geographical market expansion strategy. Coty Inc. paid 600 million USD for 51% in highly cosmetic. That I would want you to talk about, because there is a section that kind of says it's buying into an influencer. That's something I would like you to talk about, definitely. Colgate paying 1.5 billion euros for Freelogger. Colgate is a late entrant into the beauty industry in that sense, right? In 2017, they've acquired PCA Skins and Elta MD. So this 1.5 billion euros investment really shows that, I've come late. I need to do this, get there quite fast. L'Occitane, 900 million USD for LMEs. Even a Brazilian brand, Natura, took over Avon, the global, well-known Avon cosmetics. Let's talk strategy.
Okay.
Right.
So you've mentioned quite a few there, which are really interesting, Topi. And then there's also another one, Shiseido and Drunk Elephant, which is a recent acquisition as well. And so all of these brands that obviously are the ones doing the acquisition are big brands and traditional brands that have built up over years and have a very, very big organization, very big infrastructure in place. And as we both know, when you are a big brand or a big company like this, it is difficult to make changes quickly. So it's difficult to pivot your business quickly. So it does take time to innovate as well when you're in such a large organization. But in the meantime, these other brands that are emerging are the ones that are quick to market. They don't necessarily have the large infrastructure in place because they started out as an indie beauty brand. They've grown quickly. So they've got great innovation in place, and then they've obviously got access to funding to be able to scale their business, and then they get bought out by a larger organization. So as you've mentioned, Coty and Kylie Cosmetics. So there's from both sides. So the larger organization, obviously, the reason why they're buying is a strategic advantage. Buying into something that they don't necessarily have access to as quickly themselves. And obviously for the smaller organization, they're there because they want to be bought out, some of them. So that's always what's happening here. But in terms of the strategic advantages, and I will come on to Coty and Kylie, but if you think about somebody like Natura and Avon Cosmetics, Avon Cosmetics itself has been around for a long time. Yeah. So it's also been a very well-established brand. But what makes them different is their direct-to-consumer approach. Yeah. So they've had that, and this is what we're seeing across the beauty industry, is the importance of building up your community. So you either have the direct-to-consumer approach through Avon, which is a direct selling business, or you do it online, where you sell purely direct to consumer and you build up a very strong social media following. And once you've got that relationship with your consumers, there's so many advantages for you as an organization because you're talking directly to the end customer rather than going through multi-channels before you're understanding what your customer wants. And also you enable yourself to build up loyalty and your following and the strength of your relationship with your consumer. So that's what's happening with a lot of these companies. Kylie obviously has built up their following through social media. So they have a very, very strong social media following. Coty has different parts to their business, and they had a very strong professional hair care sector as well, which they've also had to look at how they diversify or sell on to somebody else. And they haven't necessarily had that innovation in terms of social media and following through the different brands that they own. So they've had to go out and acquire that through Kylie Cosmetics.
It's a wrap on this edition of Marketing Etc. Remember to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube to be notified of new editions as they come on.